And we have a go for auto sequence start. Discovery's onboard computers have primary control of all the vehicle's critical functions.
Welcome to the Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington, and today we're doing the second part of our series on minority retention. Today we're joined by Mr. Brian Gaines, CEO of the MD Bio Foundation. Mr. Gaines, welcome to the show.
Great to be here, Harry. Thanks for having me.
Now, give our audience a little background on you, in terms of your professional as well as educational background.
Sure, thanks. Well, I'm actually pretty new to the MD Bio Foundation. I just started in December of last year. But my background really is in both as a business entrepreneur and then a social entrepreneur. And I've been working in education for the last 10 or 15 years. And since joining the foundation, I came here actually from the Washington Redskins Charitable Foundation.
Oh, wow. So now what made you want to work with MD Bio Foundation?
Well, I was really, first of all, very compelled by the mission of the MD Bio Foundation. Okay. The MD Bio Foundation is really about promoting bioscience awareness and STEM education, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, to middle and high school students across the state of Maryland. As soon as I heard about the mission, I knew it was a place I really wanted to join and work.
Now, give our audience an overview. What's the overview of the MD Bio Foundation?
Sure. The MD Bio Foundation has been around since 1997. Okay. It was actually born out of the biotech industry. Okay. So about 20 years ago, the biotech industry executives, CEOs, and entrepreneurs came together and said, we want to make sure that we have a pipeline of young students and professionals coming into our organizations, working in our laboratories, creating new sciences, starting new companies. And they started the foundation, which is really dedicated to education, really trying to drive students from the state of Maryland to be working in the sciences and working in the labs of Maryland. So it was started about 20 years ago, and really starting about 10 years ago was when our flagship program was actually launched, called the MD Bio Lab.
Okay. Now, describe the kind of population you serve. What type of students do you serve?
Well, right now, actually, Harry, we actually serve all students across the state of Maryland. We're mostly focused on middle school and high school students, and our programs actually reach students across the state.
Okay. Now, give us an idea, are they A-B students, or are they C average students? Or?
They're across the board, Harry. We see them all, actually. We serve students from honors students or AP students all the way down to English as a second language students. Okay. So we don't differentiate at all. We work directly with the schools themselves and determine who they want to serve. So for instance, we'll be at a school for an entire week through our MD Bio Lab program, and we'll see whatever students the teacher wants to bring on our lab. So we'd like to see all students that are actually interested in becoming scientists.
Right. And how does a parent get connected with your program?
Well, actually, we work directly with schools. So we go directly to the schools, through schools across the state. Excellent. So we work with principals, science teachers, and other teachers in the school to deliver our program.
Now, I went to your website, and I think it was a wealth of information there. But tell our viewers, give us an idea about the programs that you offer.
Sure. Well, our biggest, most well-known program, what we call our flagship program, is called the MD Bio Lab. It's really interesting. It's a 45-foot custom-built tractor-trailer that we converted into a mobile science laboratory. Wow. So it's a really cool, it's a really neat program. Okay. And basically, if you went into we have 16 science workbenches on the lab. Wow. We can accommodate up to 32 students on the mobile laboratory. Okay. We take it to high schools across the state of Maryland. Excellent. We've been doing that for 10 years, and actually just 2 months ago, we celebrated a big milestone. We welcomed our 100,000th student onto the MD Bio Lab.
Excellent.
It was really neat.
Now, tell us more about the Young Explorers program.
Sure. We have a summer program for middle school students called the Young Science Explorers program. Right, yeah. And what we do with that basically is it's a week-long intensive summer program that we partner with community colleges and the bioscience industry to bring students in for an entire week-long immersive program.
Okay. Oh, excellent.
And actually, Harry, that particular program we are targeting actually to underserved students in particular.
Okay.
So we're trying to get students that wouldn't typically be interested in science, but have a sort of a proclivity and an interest in science, but want to actually spend an intensive week doing that.
Now, what skills do students gain while participating in your program?
Sure. Well, we actually are focused on, as I said, STEM education, but really bioscience awareness. So if you came onto our MD Bio lab, for instance, we call it the truck.
Okay.
Basically, you walk onto that onto that truck, and it looks like you're walking into a laboratory of any one of our bioscience or biotechnology or life sciences companies here in Maryland, whether it be MedImmune or Emergent Biosciences. When you walked into that particular MD Bio lab, you think you're walking into a high-tech biotech company.
Gotcha. Now, is it one-on-one individual teaching, or what is it? Is it groups? What kind of experience?
We welcome the entire class of students onto the bio lab. So we actually have 3 full-time instructors. These are young, dynamic, diverse individuals who actually are biologists, they're teachers, and they work directly with the schools, directly with the science teachers at the schools to welcome the students on board. So we have a series of 9 or 10 different what we call labs that we work with the school, and actually fits in with the Maryland State core curriculum. So when the students come onto the truck, we're working directly with their school. So it's like another classroom session, but it's on the lab. And what's interesting about it is we have equipment on the lab, Harry, that 95% of all schools in the state of Maryland don't have.
Wow.
So it's an exciting opportunity for kids to actually get their roll up their sleeves, put on their white jackets, put on their goggles, and actually do experiments that they couldn't do in their classroom.
Now, Brian, I hear your compassion in terms of helping students as well as what your organization does. What can parents and educators do to kind of influence students to be more interested in science, degrees, or even occupations?
Well, it's interesting, Harry, the nice thing about the science is, I mean, look, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't a scientist growing up, and I'm not a scientist now. I consider myself an educator and an entrepreneur. But really, what the beautiful thing about the sciences, especially in the state of Maryland, is there are jobs available for students, particularly, and I'm not talking just PhD level jobs. There are jobs that you can get coming right out of high school, out of college, out of a community college, whether it be a lab tech, or if you want to continue on and go into a science career, there's plenty of jobs available for that. So what I would say in terms of influencing parents is really just encouraging kids that may have some interest in science or math, and encouraging that and letting them do that, and giving them hands-on experiences, whether it be going to classes, whether it be going to museums, but real hands-on experience to get kids touching and feeling this and get them excited about it, and then just encourage them to do that. In terms of science teachers, frankly, we need more science teachers. And I think that's been well documented across the country. But we need science teachers who are passionate about it, who understand how the science can actually get transformed from their classroom into the industry. And we're trying to work with teachers to do that, and we're lucky to be working with some of the most dynamic teachers in the state.
Are there any testimonies that you have from students about the success that they've experienced? We
do, actually. We've done quite a bit of study on the effectiveness of the program, and we know that we get a dramatic increase in science awareness, science interest by the students coming onto the lab. The other testimonial we get is from teachers. And the teachers who actually dedicate their time, give the time, they want to bring their kids onto the mobile lab. That's the best testimonial we can have.
Now, are there any current initiatives that the MD Bio Foundation has?
Yeah, we actually have a new, very exciting initiative. We're actually building a serious game. You may not have heard the term, and what a serious game actually is a mix between an entertainment game and an educational game. So what we're doing is building a video game for the classroom.
Excellent.
We also know that because kids, we know, actually respond well to video games, and we know that the learning styles of students is really in line with how video games are played. So we're actually developing a leading edge technology that will actually bring a biology course to the computer that you could play either on a PC or you can play on a tablet in the classroom.
Now, Brian, any final words for our viewers?
Well, the only thing I would say, Harry, is science is fun. And we want kids to really engage in the sciences, have fun with the sciences, and really learn about it, and then eventually to get a career and hopefully go to work in one of our wonderful companies here in Maryland, or better yet, start a company here in Maryland.
Exactly, exactly. We'd like to thank Mr. Gaines for joining us. We'll be back. Welcome back to the Launchpad. I'm your host, Harry Washington. And again, this is the second part of a two-part segment regarding minority retention. Today, we're joined by Mr. Keith Harmon, Director of the UMBC Meyerhoff Scholars Program. Mr. Harmon, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate the invitation.
Now, give our guests a background on the Meyerhoff Scholars Program.
Sure. The Meyerhoff program began in 1988 by Dr. Freeman Rabowski and Baltimore area philanthropists Robert and Jane Meyerhoff. Okay. The goal was to help address the shortage of African Americans who obtained terminal degrees, the PhD, in engineering. Our first cohort came to UMBC in 1989, and later on, actually that first cohort were 19 African American males from the state of Maryland. Excellent. Later on, women were added. A few years later, the program was open to all high achieving students who have an interest in issues regarding underrepresentation and who want to earn an advanced degree in STEM.
Now, describe the population that the Meyerhoff Scholars Program serves.
Wonderful. We generally service students who have a fire in the belly for science. We recruit them directly out of high school. They predominantly come from the Mid-Atlantic area, our neighboring states. However, we have had students from California, Alaska, Minnesota, Florida, and Alabama.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So students from all over?
Yes. Yes.
So what can students expect when they're entering the program?
Sure. What we really believe we do are a couple of things. So once students are accepted into the program, they'll come in and take part in our 6-week summer bridge program, which has two purposes. One, we want to help them understand academia. We want to demystify academia. They're not coming to the 13th grade, they're coming to college. And so we want to help them understand how to be successful. The second thing we want to do is help them to build a cohort of cohesive friends and students who will help them through their success in undergraduate.
How do students enroll in your program?
Sure. The process starts by being nominated by your high school guidance counselor. That happens in the fall of your senior year in high school. We send nomination materials to all the high schools in the state of Maryland and any other school in the nation from which we've had a student in the past. Once you're nominated, we get that information. We will then forward you a URL and a password to access our online application.
Excellent.
You submit that to us, and then we review the applications and start the process.
And share with viewers, what's the structure of the Meyerhoff program?
Sure. Harry, I think our structure really is built upon deep academic advising, working with students, helping them to understand how they best learn, helping them to understand the principles of the best practices for success in STEM disciplines, a lot of coaching, a lot of academic advising, a lot of mentoring.
So primarily just is the students get a lot of mentoring.
Yes.
College readiness.
Yes. Yes.
What resources does the Meyerhoff program have for students?
Wonderful. So I think one of our strongest resources is, first of all, a strong peer network. We have 290 students that we service. So when you join the Meyerhoff program, you're joining a family of students who have similar goals, who are working towards an advanced degree, who are serious about their studies, who are serious about science. And so I think that's really one of the strongest things we do provide. Beyond that, we have a structured curriculum of advising and mentoring to help the student be the best applicant they can be when it's time to apply for graduate school.
Now, most of your students, are they, and I hate to go back to that question, but are these B average students, A average students, or C, or a mixture of all?
Yeah. For 290 students this year, our program GPA is 3.5. Yeah, 3.5. So these are very high achieving students.
Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
What advice would you give for students who are preparing to enter college as well as or in the workforce?
Oh, wonderful. So a couple of things. My first piece of advice is to always do your best. Regardless of whether you think the stakes are high or low, do your best. We have a saying in the Meyerhoff program that excellence demands sacrifice. And the Meyerhoff program is built on high expectations and giving your best. So I always tell students to do that. Secondly, for students in high school, I'd say reach out, look for support, look for resources that will enable you to achieve your best. So often in high school, students work alone. But what we know from those who are most successful in life is that they know they don't know everything, and they reach out to others for help and support.
Right.
Another point I'd like to make is SAT prep. Even though the SAT is a small portion of your college application, it's still a very important portion.
Right.
So I'd encourage parents and students to reach out to their community, to their schools, to look for opportunities to learn more about the SAT.
Right.
We know many students are very strong test takers.
Right.
However, some others may need to know the tools and the techniques for success in approaching these exams.
Because the biggest thing about the Meyerhoff program that we want people to understand is that you're helping minority students to become researchers,
Yes.
future researchers.
Future researchers.
Right. And students who don't get accepted in the program, well, what advice would you give to them then? What other resources should they engage in?
Sure. Unfortunately, we can't take everyone, but
Right.
we know that there are plenty of resources out there. We're only one intervention for students.
Right.
Wherever you go to school, wherever you are, look for resources, reach out for support,
Right.
get to know your faculty, work with your fellow peers for success, help each other. Teach others. You learn a lot by teaching others.
Right.
Look to your community, federal agencies. The government has so many things that they're doing to promote STEM education among all levels, among all races and ethnicities.
Right.
So reach out. There are plenty of resources out there for you.
Are there any current initiatives that you want to speak about for the Meyerhoff program?
Oh, sure. One thing that we're currently doing is that we are now looking to help build a pipeline into STEM. And so we're looking to work with entities that support middle school students and high school students in terms of research experiences. Right. Our students are working with folks in middle schools and high schools. They're mentoring, they're teaching, they're really giving a lot of support and a lot of advice to help students come along the way. One thing that we want to do in the future, and we're hoping to do it within the next year or so, is to add a new component to our website which will list research experiences and other programs of support for students interested in STEM. So we want to help our population become stronger and more competitive in the application process.
Mr. Harmon, any final words you have for our viewers?
I just say, there are so many opportunities out there for students in STEM. It's a wonderful career path. The Meyerhoff program has been successful. I think to date we've graduated over 800 students. We have probably over 150 who've earned PhDs. UMBC and the Meyerhoff program is the #1 producer of African Americans who go on to earn the combined MD, PhD degree. And our students are out there doing wonderful things, helping the world become a better place.
Excellent. Now, to learn about all of our guests, remember you can view their web pages or their information at the end of the show. Also, stay tuned because we have a special video of students, well, actually college students who are speaking about their experience in science.
Hi, my name is Abigail Adekoji. I'm a clinical laboratory science major from Houston, Texas. I'm also a freshman. I pretty much think that science is very interesting because it's just a vast amount of different areas that you can go into science. It's not basically very stringent like business is only one kind. Like there's basically many umbrellas that fall underneath science, and they're all interesting in their own way. Basically, my first experience with science would have to be that I really remember would be 6th grade earth sciences when my teacher made like cupcakes to represent the cores of the earth, and it's just so fun how you can basically use anything to make science come to life besides just science being about all forms of life, dead and alive. And then also my plans with science is basically to become an OBGYN after school, so I'd have to go to med school, so of course that's basically what I would need. So science is very important, and I say yay for science.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Nebby. I am a freshman at Howard University, and I'm a bio major. Science is interesting to me because I like to see how one thing can affect something else. Just the other day, we were learning about hormones and how they move through the body, and we basically learned that if you have a symptom such as excessive urine, then that could probably mean that there's something wrong with your ADH levels, which is the antidiuretic hormone, which is produced in the brain. So things like that, the interconnectedness of the body, is very interesting to me, and just how things work really is something that interests me. My first experience with science and really embracing science, I would say, would be my research lab, the research lab I'm working in, with my research teacher, Dr. Richardson, we're working on a lab about, it's basically studying the neurotransmitter orexin. And orexin is a neurotransmitter that has often been linked to addictions, the tendency of addiction. So addictions like binge eating, addiction to drugs, addiction to different habits, these have been linked to orexin. So we're trying to study exactly what's going on between the two factors, and to see what we could do about it to possibly make a drug to stop orexin and help people kick addictions. And this was really interesting to me because I felt like this was something that was very important in society and to my family. I have an uncle who unfortunately is an alcoholic, and knowing that I could do research to help somebody like him, or just anybody really, is something that means a lot to me. And that's how I really began to embrace science, knowing that I can make a difference in a big way. My professional plans after completing college ideally would be to go to med school. And after medical school, I would like to eventually become a brain surgeon. That's the goal.
My name is Corian Jones from Toledo, Ohio. I am a sophomore biology major. Science is interesting to me because you can take many different elements from the earth or just anything and put them together and make something new. My first experience with science was the simple baking soda and vinegar experiment. You mix baking soda and vinegar together and it causes a reaction. And as a young boy, that was just so amazing to me. And that's what sparked my interest in the science field. After college, I will most likely go to professional school, medical school, to become a pediatrician to help young kids and hopefully discover some different cures that are not found yet, or just anything that I can do to help children.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Smiley. I'm a sophomore here at Howard University, and I'm from Prince George's County, Maryland. Science is interesting to me because of the new and innovative ways that it's affecting the world around us. One of my first encounters with science is when I was in 4th grade and I began to learn about drugs and different depressants and stuff that was interesting to me as a 9-year-old. I would like to become a pharmacist after I graduate from college. I have to do 2 years of undergrad, and I'm going to join the pre-professional pharmacy program here at Howard.
My name is Nerika Clark, and I'm a freshman double major in the fields of biology and chemistry from the Howard University, and I'm from Jamaica. I am interested in science because it's just so exciting to me. It's thrilling. It's always something more for me. Like, it's interesting, it's exciting. It's always just learning about the things around you, like why are plants green, why is the sky blue, like just figuring out everyday items and everyday things is what gets me really excited into science. My first experience with science was probably around 3 years old when, as I said, I looked up and I saw a tree, and I'm like, why are the leaves green? And ever since, I've just been trying to figure out more and more, why is the sky blue, like why do apples fall from a tree, gravity, like science itself, everything about science just interests me. After I finished my undergraduate degree at the Howard University, I have 2 plans. First, I would love to go to Johns Hopkins to get my medical degree and then to specialize in the field of neurosurgery. If that doesn't work, which I highly doubt, I would like to get my PhD in biochemistry and go on to become a lecturer, maybe at the Howard University.
Hi, my name is Terrell Tandre Riego. I'm a biology major freshman from Prince George's County, Maryland. And science is interesting to me because I like to know how things work. You know, it's easy when someone tells you why something works, but when you know for yourself, it gives you a better appreciation for life and, just the world around you in general. My first experience with science was in the 3rd grade. My teacher actually had some chicken eggs that we incubated and hatched ourselves in class. And I thought that was really interesting because, you know, you got to see like the egg as it went through all the stages of incubation, and then out of this simple egg came life. So that's what interested me in science, and I was in 3rd grade. And after college, I plan on going into dental school to become a dentist.